So some of you might then already know this. Like SAP is like this planet where a lot of processes are going on, and you have these different modules. I mean, SAP has its own language, like FI for finance, MM for material management, SD. These are the former modules. Today, it's called order to cash or procure to pay in the S4 environment. But in the end, it's just SAP is all about the business process and the stakeholders and the business teams. And this is also where Batchman is, at the end of the day, is targeted at. So we are targeting the business people, formerly the SAP basis administrators, who were kind of the consultants for the business teams. But nowadays it's moving over to, everybody's talking about citizen developmentship nowadays. So most of the business departments, they are taking over, doing their own businesses themselves to really react faster on what's going on and monitor faster what's going on. And this is what we do in day-to-day work. So we automate payment runs, we automate MRP runs, cash management, procure-to-pay, some in transport management, and even more exotic stuff like mass activities, for example, in FICA. And this is the world where Batchman excels and where we live, actually. Yeah. 1 second. So just to give you a sample of processes that we automate every day, one is the FI payment runs. Payments runs you have everywhere. You have payments run after payslip generation. For HR, you have payment runs in treasury, in banking, you have payment runs in Procure-to-Pay. So, and there's a lot of systems involved in payment runs and a lot of single steps that you have to take. And this is why automation is so important for payment runs, because it's a multi-step process that you have. And oftentimes within payment runs, you also have, for example, external systems or at least file and data movements that are involved to externals. And this is what we usually also support end to end. Is like, we're not that large of hybrid automation as UAC is, but if it comes to SAP processing, it's what Batchman does is end to end processing within the needs of the business departments. Another very famous process that we do is material requirements planning. If you have a production company, you know that you have this product that you produce, and then you have these planning runs where you have like half-ready products. You have to buy something from suppliers, and then you have these large MRP runs, mostly for different plants all over the world that you have to run. And at the end of the day, they go together, possibly in an ATP run, the available to promise. And this is just checking for what do I have in stock, what do I need to order, and these runs are pretty much inside the SAP system. They are very complex, but they need to have the right timing. There's, for example, despite for the FI runs, which are also, or payment runs, which are also very critical, but also very much bound to external systems, material requirements planning is much more internal, it's much more calculating, but it has to be on point, because, well, when new large orders come in, then you even might want to restart an MRP run for that day or late at night just to get the right amount of supplier orders done for the next day, and not lose a whole day on your transactions and on your ATP runs, right? And then if it gets a little bit more exotic, for example, for energy companies, what we do is mass activity runs. And this is a plethora of activities that we have. There are billing runs, invoicing runs, large printing runs. Mass activities basically is whenever a supplier or provider is having a huge audience and he needs to do everything at once on basically the end of the month. For example, telecommunication companies or energy companies that need to send out the billing. So then you have these large runs that are mostly parallelized. And of course, there's manual checking in between. And there's a lot of like resources that you have to think about. And if some region was not processed correctly, you need to redo it. And these are very specific at very specific points in time of the month, but they have to go through. Otherwise, these companies, they have issues with it. And this is why seeing these processes in large scale is very important for them.